Hi there, and welcome to She Spice. Obviously, even symbols are not generally honored. Who knew Viola Davis went through such a lot? Hearing the entertainer focus on how unpleasant her experience growing up was, you'd understand that certain individuals truly went through some serious hardship to get to where they are today. And you'd envision that her time in the business has essentially been simpler, yet you'd be so off base. And get kneeling down and shut my eyes. I set up my hands and said, God, assuming that you exist and that you love me, you'll remove me from this life. With regards to acting, Viola Davis is a flat-out force in Hollywood, whether she's directing the screen as the wild Annalise King in How to Pull Off M, or typifying the flexibility of characters like Anne Clark in The Assistants. Davis is eminent for her flexibility and her skill for conveying strong exhibitions that pull at your heartstrings. I figured I could get my accounts on paper and read them to you, which is better than recording my request frequently when an entertainer is all around as skilled as Viola Davis. People will generally figure they probably got through a few genuine difficulties to carry such profundity to their jobs. Yet, that being said, it's difficult to truly understand exactly the way in which harsh and disastrous Viola Davis' life as a youngster was. It's particularly staggering when you consider the amount she's accomplished and developed as a stalwart entertainer at 54. The main thing I knew how to do was to remain there and be terrified and to go to class with that injury, to go to class being ravenous as per the day-to-day mail. Viola Davis has straightforwardly examined the extreme truth of her experience growing up in 2014, while being respected for her magnanimous work with the association. Hunger is that assortment's force of ladies' lunch meeting, and Davis didn't keep down. She shared that growing up as the most youthful of 6 in a working-class family in Focal Falls, Rhode Island, brought gigantic disgrace and required her years to grapple with how that childhood molded her. Davis conceded that despite the fact that there were blissful minutes, the steady battles made it challenging for her to be a youngster. So when I acquired vision, strength, and pardoning, I could recollect what it means to be a kid who is eager. I could recall being injured, a huge inspiration driving Viola Davis' devotion to the cause of hunger, which originates from her own encounters with yearning during adolescence. She's been sincere about the drastic actions she took just to grab a bite, like scrounging through trash receptacles, swarmed with parasites, or depending on the liberality of neighbors who had standard dinners in spite of these difficulties. Davis found comfort in her scholarly interests, depicting herself as a kid who dreams but sees no sign of it. I could recall that since I resided there, this energy drove her to Rhode Island School, where she concentrated on dramatization and at last prepared for her phenomenal vocation. Today, Davis remains a superstar in media outlets, flaunting a foundation grant, an Emmy, 2 Tonys, and various other honors. Demonstration of her surprising ability and versatility and delightful white ladies, with their arms loosened up to me, over that line she is most certainly an example of overcoming adversity, which demonstrates that regardless of what your conditions are growing up, it's in every case still conceivable to arrive at new levels and accomplish your fantasies. And let me let you know something: the main thing that isolates ladies of variety from any other individual is opportunity, still, as Davis made a piece point to specify at the lunch meeting. Her account of young life neediness is unfortunately just a single one of many like it, as she made sense of the color in this nation, is that 1 out of each and every 5 youngsters in this nation are residing in families that are food unfortunate. Talking about the way this can influence different parts of a kid's life, Davis added that of all the primary teachers out there, 3 out of every 5 children in their group come to school hungry. She said that even at her own secondary school, she was only one of numerous youngsters who needed to explore their direction through the dimness and come out the other side. Viola Davis' process is, to be sure, a wonderful close to her story, regardless of confronting serious difficulties during her childhood. She figured out how to defeat her conditions and make progress. Davis has authentically shared the difficulties she persevered with while growing up, including the battle to get fundamental necessities like food, in a way that would sound natural to her. She pondered a youth set apart by destitution, relating occurrences where she turned to frantic measures like taking and searching in trash containers for food. Davis' assurance to endure drove her to frame coalitions inside her local area in quest for food, yet it came at the expense of a customary youth, leaving her troubled with disgrace. And you know the disgrace of neediness, the inclination outwardly, the inclination undetectable, the absence of access, which is the reason I discuss it all the time. Viola Davis' nerve-wracking the journey from destitution to progress is intensified by the presence of an oppressive dad who fought allism and was a previous fighter. She has described the turbulent climate of her life as a youngster, where her dad's pitifully vicious eruptions cast a shadow over their home. I could recall neediness regardless of the injury incurred by her dad. Davis recognizes an extraordinary change in his conduct before his passing in 2006. He started communicating regret and looking for absolution from her mom day to day. This compromise cycle served as an impetus for Davis herself to excuse her dad. In spite of the aggravation and enduring, she got through. Davis decides to recollect the snapshots of adoration and fondness she imparted to her dad. By embracing absolution, she frees herself from the weight of disdain and decides to respect his adoration instead of harping on his past offenses. I needed to cherish my father, and here's why my father adored me. I saw it, I felt it, I got it, and I took it for me. That is a vastly improved gift, and, to a lesser degree, a weight to carry on with, as long as I can remember conveying that enormous significant burden of who he used to be and what he used to do. That is my decision. That is my heritage, pardoning my father in a frightening disclosure. She says her sibling exposition about her and her sisters when they were young. The following contemplation makes quick work of Davis's firmly established aggravation and how it molded one of the best entertainers of an age when Oscar, Emmy, and Tony Winter dropped Will Smith's name in the initial pages to set up a genuine story they shared about their separate childhoods. It's one of only a handful of exceptional references to her fame before the last sections. Davis recognizes that she, in the end, turned into an entertainer as a sort of survival strategy. The interaction and imaginativeness of sorting out a person totally different from you were what could be compared to being powerful. She makes sense of it, and she likewise has the ability to recuperate all that was wrecked inside me that I was unable to resolve in my life. I could station everything in my work and nobody would be the savvier. In the event that you know Davis exhibitions, you comprehend the tweaking consequences of mining her feelings, given Davis' profound special interaction with these issues. It's clear why she is profoundly dedicated to supporting foundations that battle youth destitution. As her profile keeps on rising, she acquires a bigger stage to point out these urgent yet frequently disregarded issues. Davis' bluntness in scrutinizing the business foundational predispositions. However, she's insightful while talking about unambiguous ventures. When she shares her experiences, she dives past mere behind-the-scenes accounts or cheerful set stories thinking about her tryout for Vera in 7 Guitars, her Broadway debut in an August Wilson play. She profoundly associates the experience with her own disturbed past. It was a delightful scene of harm, torment, and yearning for love. She reflects that it was me. It didn't take much for me to take advantage of that piece of myself. Davis additionally gives an enthralling editorial on her parts in Uncertainty Walls. How to pull off M and the assistants, where she, the two inquiries its innovative viewpoints while communicating deference for her partners as Davis describes her visit at George Clooney's Italian estate. What could at first appear like a childishly sumptuous encounter is rigged to break, a made-dressed break. For somebody whose way to progress was filled with snags, the certifiable romance between Davis and her significant other entertainer Julius Tenen offers a reviving difference, as does Davis' genuine recognition for her little girl beginning, whom the couple had embraced in 2011, in spite of finding me imperfect. For example, in Remaining Details, Unnatural Geniuses, and Superfluous Tales, Davis's own process wins over these reactions. She handily entwines her previous battles with her current victories, communicating that I'm not embarrassed about me. I own the beginning and end that have at any point happened to me. The parts that were a wellspring of disgrace are really my champion fuel, without a doubt. Davis reliably exhibits strength in every case, apparently having more to give, whether in front of an audience or on screen, yet it appears like her life behind the camera is additionally not on par with what was shown. Viola Davis has been proudly vocal about the one-of-a-kind difficulties she faces as an individual of color in Hollywood. In a genuine meeting, she shed light on the glaring variations and potential open doors and paid among herself and her white partners, talking at the Ladies on the Planet. La Salon Davis uncovered that we get presumably 10th of what a Caucasian lady gets, and I'm number 1 on the call sheet. Afterward, I need to go in and hustle for my value, causing me to notice her expansive and famous lifetime, crossing more than 30 years. Davis highlighted her accomplishments, which incorporate renowned honors. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.